a performer who's playing. We've got Elizabeth from Charismatic Voice, the awesome YouTube channel. You do like reactions to singers and so forth. So first, how long has the YouTube channel been running for?
Oh man, well okay, that actually kind of takes it to the journey a little bit. The YouTube channel, I believe I've had it for 7 years. But if you go back, it was only about a year and a half ago when it started taking off. But I had posted really good content fairly continuously for 2 years before that. So I would say for getting content semi-regularly up on YouTube that could have taken off, I was doing it 3.5 years ago, and it started to boost off 1.5 years ago.
So what did it wasn't it kicked off a big spike? Because so many people on YouTube channels, what was it that suddenly went boom? You're getting views now.
That was let's see. I think the very first video I did that started that was a comparison of different artists singing the song from The Fifth Element, the Diva Dance, and it started to get quite a few views. And I was talking about how they executed it and what was going on. A lot of analysis there. And then somebody said, "Well, you should have compared Dimash." I was like, who's Dimash? So I went and looked, and I'd actually discounted Dimash because he didn't sing it in the original key. And everyone said, well, but you should still compare him. So I made a video about some of his other singing and was really blown away. And that was my first really reaction video. But it was interesting. People had recommended reaction videos to me for a very long time. But I thought that was oohs and ahs. And then I was at NAMM with a bunch of guitar YouTubers. And somebody said, well, but do it your own way. And my goal has always been to provide more appreciation and knowledge about singing and music. And when I realized I could take that and I could analyze it and help create more understanding and appreciation for what singers were doing, I was like, oh, yeah, I want to do that. And so I started really doing that then with Dimash, and yeah, eventually it's evolved through a bunch of different singers throughout.
And obviously the reason you're here is because you did some reaction videos to heavy metal musicians.
Yeah.
What was the first one? I've watched maybe 8, 9 different ones done. Can you remember what the very first heavy metal one was that you may have done?
Well, I think it kind of depends on what you consider heavy metal. And
that's a very good point, yeah.
Okay, good. I mean, I'm still a baby in this area. I didn't grow up with rock or metal.
There are 10 million genres and subgenres. And there are people who will class one band as rock and metal and one band, people go, no, they're pop.
Yep.
So it is tricky, but in your own mind, who would you say was the first one?
So I feel like
they're not metal.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like sort of the dive into this area is the way I would put it, was actually Disturbed singing Sound of Silence, which I think is more rock.
I would count them as rocky metal.
Okay.
I would also say that song is one of the best renditions of a song ever done, and I loved your video of it. Every time I watch that video I get goosebumps, as the original one, and watching someone's eyes literally explode listening to David's version of the song. That's what happened when I listened to it.
It was really good.
Going by what you were saying in that particular video, you're familiar with his work from General Disturbed songs, I think.
No, I think I heard some Disturbed maybe when I was very, very young. Never anything that I listened to in a car or at home. Like maybe I heard it on the radio of one of the friends playing. Never something that I could have told you, oh, that's Disturbed or anything like that. I feel like maybe I should correct. Ghost Love Score maybe happened in there. That was my introduction to Nightwish and symphonic metal. Yeah. So somewhere in there. Yeah. I thank you subscribers for suggesting that one. It made sense.
It's a nice little bridge, isn't it? Like, so that's one of the things I was saying. There's so many genres in metal and so much crossover. There's like hip-hop crossover metal bands, there's symphonic metal bands as well. One or two of the other ones you did, the Iron Maiden, obviously big name. Iron Maiden. And that was a live video reaction to on that one as well. And then there's a band called Judas Priest who are on the bill on Sunday with Painkiller, and I was looking forward to that one. Because I've seen Rob do that live umpteen times. I've seen you staying for Sunday nights.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to that performance.
Yeah, because a lot of the bands you've watched, you've been quite impressed with the expressibility and the range, and a lot of them are quite high-pitched. Obviously, Dave Draymond's voice is quite low. Are these videos the ones that basically led you to here? Did you approach Bloodstock to say, can I come? Or did somebody get in touch and invite?
Oh. it's definitely been sort of like a series of small steps, is the way to describe it. And one that really opened it up. But I was on Grant Truesdale's Twitch channel, and someone had mentioned, "Oh, you should go to Bloodstock." And then Kirk, my husband, ended up contacting, and we got in contact with the team here, and they said, "Yeah, you can come here as media." And we'd already started doing interviews, and we knew that we wanted to connect with our community a lot more and understand metal more. Because I'm still a total metal baby. So it's the first time. I know, right? Isn't it? It's a great design, spoiled by metal, and channel colors.
It really looks good. It's just like, wow. Yeah, the pinks and the blues and stuff. I saw one comment that described you as a Disney princess doing reaction videos, and you look at your facial expressions, and you could be modelling for Disney princess. You got the hair, the expressions. That's what really sells the channel.
Oh, thanks.
Like, go back to the music. You've done a few of the big names and so forth. Who would you say is your favourite metal act out of the ones you've reacted to?
I think as far as metal singer, I'm gonna go. I am so loving Ronnie James Dio at the moment.
The main stage is named after?
That makes sense to me. It was so funny. I was like, who's Dio? For the longest time. And I'd done Bruce Dickinson, and I'd done Nightwish, and I feel like it was inevitable that I'd eventually get to Dio. But I saw that people were suggesting like Rainbow and Dio, and then like RJD, and I hadn't put together that this was the same person. It took me forever to figure that out.
Yeah, you get an awful lot of that with people hopping around between bands and metal as well. So, looking at all the bands that you haven't covered, I've not been through the whole list. Have you covered some of the more extreme metal ends, like Cannibal Corpse? Has anybody thrown that at you yet?
Oh, I've seen that in recommendations a few times, but it hasn't come top. We actually go through all of the comments and log the most requested bands and songs. It's extremely laborious. It takes a ton of time, but I feel that that's one of the best things about our community is that we are actively listening.
Yeah.
It's very important. I think a lot of times people can feel lost on YouTube, and that is not our intention whatsoever. We want people to know that they are heard.
Do you ever go out looking for acts yourself, or you just got too much in the way of suggestions?
Sometimes I look for some acts. Usually it's sort of, on Mondays, we'll usually go for something that's a little more clean singing in that area and look at what's been requested the most. Sometimes that's when we do a patron request.
Yep.
But usually, like, we might categorize sort of the different kinds of suggestions that we get. On Fridays, it tends to be more metal and rock. And so that's usually whatever it is, it's the most requested. And we've even started calling out to whose comment had like the most upvotes in there as well. Tuesdays are my choice. And so sometimes that means that there's a band that's been recommended for a long time that I'm really curious about. And sometimes that might be, I want to go tell you about why Pavarotti is so amazing. Yeah, exactly. Why not? That's when I bring in a variety. I tend to do a cappella on Tuesdays as well, sometimes Mondays, because I really like a cappella music. So yeah, Tuesdays are my choice, and that's just a huge variety.
So I mean, you've been to the festival. We've only had like the half day yesterday, which was just the one stage running. Did you get a chance to see any of the bands play?
We did go by and peeked at a few. It was pretty crowded in there, so we weren't ready to dive in just yet. Yeah, and again, like, have peeked around a little bit today, but not too much yet.
Have you got anybody on your to see list? I mean, I'm assuming Judas Priest will be on there.
Yeah, Judas Priest is big. I'm really excited to see Glory Hammer.
They are.
Yeah.
Really good. If you like Glory Hammer and you haven't heard of them, I recommend Ailstorm also.
Really?
The chap who invented Glory Hammer also invented Ailstorm, and he fronts Ailstorm. He's the keyboardist for both bands.
Okay.
So
are they here as well?
They are not, but they are actually touring together later on this year. So he's obviously a cheapskate and doesn't want to get too many bands involved. So he's doing two. He's a very, very prolific musician.
The other one, I should have mentioned this right away too, Devin Townsend.
Yes, you interviewed him recently, didn't you?
I interviewed him. He's amazing. He's the reason we have our channel mascot. I am really a big fan of what he does. I like the variety he puts out too.
he has got pretty much everything. He does acoustic shows. He does incredibly heavy stuff with Strapping Young Lad. And he's a character. And
He's wonderful.
He's a lovely guy as well. And it's one thing that, again, from my point of view, we've been Bloodstock 6-7 years now, and it's the atmosphere here. I think that's the thing that will strike you. Bloodstock's a very friendly place to visit. You look at the tent, and it might not look it during some of the shows.
It looked a little intense. This is my very first time at a metal festival, period. So I'm looking around going like, oh, I like a lot of this style. People are very unique. They look very expressive.
It's a watch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Do you reckon you'll come back? Would you come back here as a punter, as a paying customer, do you think? Is it that good that if you weren't invited to media, would you pay to go to Metal Festival?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a very different experience. I'm looking at people that are camping here and thinking about how many D&D games are going on, and like, oh man, like can we play D&D the whole weekend? You know, come in and listen to bands, and then on the off time drink beer and play D&D. That sounds great.
That is, you've pretty much described 95% of the people here, including most of the bands, and I know that they won't admit to it, but yeah. Rob Halford, definitely. Yeah.
Does he play? Oh my god.
Well, he must do. He's far too cool not to play D&D. So, got a bunch of list. What's coming up next on the channel? Give a little push. Any bits of content you want to give us a little bit of a preview over the next few weeks?
I'm really excited. By the time you publish this, it might not. It will have already dropped. We're dropping a video tomorrow on Lorna Shore, and for me, this was one of the most eye-opening reactions I've done in a while. I've been reading tons of research about harsh metal vocals, and I've even asked fans to send me research, and we've been getting more in it. There isn't a lot of research that's done on exactly how the voice functions to create these harsh vocals. There needs to be a lot more. But Lorna Shore, and Will is their lead singer. That was amazing, just mind-boggling. I don't know how much purely harsh vocals we'll go into on the channel overall. We have dabbled a couple times recently. I think it's very fascinating, but obviously my specialty is going to be more in the clean vocals and how those are produced. But I'm really excited about that video. I feel like it created a new appreciation in me for harsh vocals.
I mean, as somebody who actually listens to this music, what I'm actually enjoying on the channel is seeing somebody else, not just your reaction to it, but your explanation. I'm learning about music I've listened to for 35, 40 years.
Yay.
And I'm picking up bits that I've never even thought of. I'm just sitting here listening to it and liking it and not liking it, and I've got somebody explaining to me how they're doing stuff, and I'm listening to that now, good enough to listen to other things going, they're doing the same thing.
Right?
I heard that in Charismatic voice. She told me that. I can say that to people and they'll think I'm clever.
Good. Use it.
I'm just stealing it from you.
Perfect. Do it.
Thank you. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you've got a lot of bands to see. There's 140 odd playing this weekend. Had a thoroughly good time. I'm really, I'm so chuffed to see you coming here. It's just nice to see somebody who's listened to a little bit of it on recording going, you know what? Let's just jump in with a bunch of sweaty people and enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for having me as well.
You're more than
Appreciate
welcome. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you.
Enjoy the weekend.
You too.